stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please call roll.
Mr. Christensen. Mr. McGregor.
Here.
Mr. Modrak.
Here.
Mr. Nagel.
Here.
Mrs. Rule. Here. Mr. Scalzo.
Here.
Mr. Spacuzza.
Present.
Mrs. Turner.
Here.
Mrs. Dobos.
Here.
All 9 members present.
Thank you. Before we adopt the agenda for business items, I know that there's a lot of concern in the audience. We've received a lot of emails and so forth about our safety plan that we're going to be approving tonight. And I just want to tell you that from the very beginning of this crisis, this COVID crisis, we have diligently followed all of the guidelines that the PDE, the CDC, and the Allegheny County have given to us on how to address the issues with the COVID crisis, as we will continue to do. And so in the recommendations from the CDC, which is the only recommendations we have at this time, because PDE hasn't come out with recommendations or guidelines, nor has the Allegheny Department of Health come out with guidelines or regulations. Their regulations are that they highly recommend masks being worn by those who are not vaccinated. Highly recommend. Not required, but highly recommend. That's the way our policy reads that we are going to be voting on tonight. So I just wanted to clear that up for those of you who think that there's something out there about requirements. It's highly recommended. So I just wanted to make that clear before we begin. I need a motion to adopt the agenda for business items.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Mr. Spacuzza and seconded by Mr. Nagel.
Voting is open. Mrs. Rule? Yes. Motion carries 9-0.
I'd like to have a motion to approve the minutes from the 6:15 regular meeting and the 6:22 regular meeting.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Christensen, seconded by Ms. Rule, Mrs. Rule?
Turner.
Or Mrs. Turner, sorry.
Voting is open. Mrs. Rule? Motion carries 9-0.
Okay, Dr. Walsh has a few comments.
Thank you, Ms. Dobos. Good evening, everyone. I want to take the opportunity to introduce our 2 newest administrators to the Bethel Park School District, who are standing in the back from the new high school assistant principals, Diana Franzik, who's coming to us as an administrator from the Cannon-McMillan School District, and next to Diana is Mr. Mark Korsinski, who's coming to us as an administrator from the Seneca Valley School District. And I say they're new administrators to us, but they're veteran, seasoned administrators, bringing lots of ideas and experiences that we're going to be able to use to move Bethel Park High School forward. So we're glad you're here tonight. Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you for coming.
And I'm also going to make sure everybody is aware that I think the board is aware, on June 30th, Governor Wolf signed into law Act 66 of 2021, which allows students who were enrolled during the 2021 school year to repeat their grade level to make up for any learning loss due to the pandemic, even students who met requirements to be promoted to the next grade level. The Act also allows that option for students with disabilities who were enrolled during the 2021 school year and turned 21 during the year, that they also could be included in this. So PDE has developed and posted on its website a standard form for families to fill out and submit to the school or to the administration requesting that their child repeat a grade because of their pandemic. And that form is available until July 15th. And that's all I had. Thank you, Mrs. Dobus.
Thank you, Dr. Walsh. At this time, we'll have public comments on agenda items only. So anything that is on agenda that you would like to comment on, you can come up to the microphone. You need to state your name and address, and you have 2 minutes to speak to us about items on the agenda.
Right after the public comment. Okay.
Hi. Name
Could
and
you
name
turn
and
your
address.
microphone-
Address, and can you turn on the mic?
Just flick the one switch up in the middle. Just flick it up toward you. Can you get it?
Move it close. Let's move it closer to her.
Hello.
It's on. Go
Hello.
ahead. Yes.
I'm just going to hold it.
Okay.
Okay.
Where's our timer?
Dr. Walsh, welcome to Bethel Park. It's a
Name and
pleasure.
address, please.
Oh, sure. Hi, everybody. I'm Eric Kierstein, Bethel Park, lifelong citizen, 5953 King School Road. Thank you. Members of the school board, thank you for having me. Dr. Walsh, once again, it's nice to meet you. First of all, I'd like to thank all of you for your efforts in providing our children a source of education last year. You had your work cut out for you. Thank you. We appreciate that. I'm here tonight just to speak on behalf of my 4 daughters, and I also represent the citizens of Bethel Park who signed a petition I authored demanding that this administration make masks optional for the fall school year. Here's our petition by the numbers. It was started just 18 days ago, and as of 15 minutes ago, it had 616 signatures. The petition doubled in signatures this past Friday after the initial email that went out. And just to give you some context, I contacted another organization within Pennsylvania that is housing petitions, and the average numbers of signatures that they have on their petitions is 165. I could read you the petition. I'm not going to do that. I could lay down all sorts of stats based on COVID, based on masks, based on how our children's education has been not great. We all know that. We all know this. Honestly, I'm not a healthcare professional. I'm not an education professional. But I can offer some feedback because I do know a little bit about leadership. Thank you, sir. There's a lot of communication issues here at the district at every level. Point 1 of feedback. There's a big opportunity to increase transparency among the board and our citizens, teachers, and the board. And I can say these things because I have volunteered my time over the last few weeks as a member of the Strategic Planning Committee, where I have been learning that this district, not your fault, these have been years in the making, has 99 problems, and COVID is not one of them. Thank you. I've reviewed the health and safety plans of neighboring school districts. They have drawn the line in the sand. This includes Mount Lebanon, Upper St. Clair, Ken Mac, and Peters Township. I am sure there are more. But what I'm explicitly stating is that our health and safety plan says we'll follow the CDC. Most of these others' health and safety plans say masks will be optional. Masks will not be required. We will review CDC guidance. We will do this. And they are drawing a very clear line in the sand.
Could you please sum up your 2 minutes?
Yep, I'm done. So basically, I'm asking you tonight to vote no to the health and safety plan as its current state. And second, I'm asking you to introduce a motion to amend the plan, removing our dependence on the CDC with clear and explicit guidance for the citizens and students of this community. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Thank you all. Jill Hosco, 2970 O'Neill Drive. I have a 7-year-old and an up-and-coming 4-year-old that will be joining your school program, hopefully. The reason I state hopefully as I will add on, we have many questions about whether we keep our children at Bethel Park. And isn't it sad that we have to be put in that situation when a few years ago, Bethel Park was ranked in the top 20% of schools in Pennsylvania. And now here we are today standing before you with a ton of support. And we want to know how you all are going to feel when things do change. Because again, as stated, the communication has some errors. My question to all of you, and I'm sure it won't be answered tonight, is what happens if you approve as stated with the CDC guidelines changing? Will the same thing happen that happened last year? Up at the 11th hour, then we're revoting, then we're pulling things back. These children just can't take any more mentally, especially the 12 and under. So I really hope that you would reconsider and also vote no on the current plan and the way that it is stated. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Abigail Kovach. I'm at 640 Rolling Green Drive. I have 4 kids, 2 of which are at Lincoln, and I have a background in critical care nursing, but this year I kind of feel like I'm part teacher's aide to my awesome first and third grade teachers. A few weeks after the kids returned to school in January, they started suffering nosebleeds chronically. My 9-year-old was complaining of headaches every single day, opting out of sled riding, going to friends' houses, doing things that a normal 9-year-old should do. My 6-year-old would leave for school with a certain mask on and come home in a different one, soaking, saturating his mask I sent him in blood. 1 week, every single day. I pulled them out. As a trauma background, I know blood, and I know how to recognize the cause of it, and I know how to fix it. So the following day, I pulled them back to virtual. I pulled them away from their friends. For the first time, they were back 4 days a week, away from their teachers, who so deserved them as they deserved their teachers. I pulled them out of normalcy, and within 1 day, there was not a nosebleed in the house. They were wearing a piece of cloth blocking their airway for 6 to 8 hours a day. My fight is not with the masks. I'm a scared parent. I see what the masks did to my children as other parents who want their children to wear masks are scared of the virus. We all have that choice. We have that choice to pull our children out of school or keep them in school, but only if they're masked. So my issue is not with parents putting their kids in masks and I understand requirement and the antonym recommendation being mixed up Friday versus last night. But we're talking about the CDC and the PDE and all of the government being involved in decisions making here, where our neighboring communities are not considering that. In their bylaws, they're stating parents ultimately do have that choice. Because the CDC and the government does not belong in the boardroom where my school board makes decisions for our students, for their teachers, and for their schools. Just as the school board does not belong in my living room where me and my husband make medical decisions for my children. So I ask you to please reflect and respect the choice of a parent and the God-given right that we have to make those choices for our children by changing the verbiage in the health and safety plan that will be submitted July 30th so that you cannot renege like last summer. What a nightmare that was for not just us parents, but our beautiful children who suffered immensely already. Please consider that. Not us, not you, not the union, not the government, our children. Thank you.
Hi, guys. Brian Hosco, 2970 O'Neill Drive. First of all, thank you for clarifying the board's position on the masks last night with the email. I'll start with that. I want that mask off my kid. The district has no basis to mandate a mask requirement while at the same time talking up a vaccine whose possible side effects are more dangerous to a child than the virus itself. I'm going to ask you guys a rhetorical question for the sake of time. Do you all have the vaccine? You don't need to answer me. I'll go out on a limb and bet that you do. What was the purpose of getting the vaccine? I assume it's to prevent you from getting COVID. Do you believe the vaccine works? I assume you do, or you wouldn't have stuck yourself with a foreign object unless knowing there's no long-term guarantee on the side effects, unless you thought it protected you from COVID immediately. That's great. It's your decision. I respect it. A lot of people in my life, some of the most important people, made the exact same decision. If and when the time comes that my kids are called upon to get the vaccine, they will not get that vaccine, period. But there's good news. They aren't affected by the virus. You know why? Because they're kids. The flu has a worse mortality rate than the COVID virus on little kids. That's a fact. Even better news for those of you who got the vaccine. By definition, you got the vaccine, you believe it works, you can't catch COVID because you got the vaccine, and you don't have to be worried about being in the same room with a bunch of little kids who don't have masks on. The vaccine is readily available. Those who want it can get it, and that's going to be more true by September. And if you're in the extreme minority who can't get the vaccine due to a health condition, it is not incumbent upon 1,500 to 1,800 kids to drastically and indefinitely alter their way of life and school experience. It is incumbent on those few people to take the appropriate precautions and make the best decision for them and their safety. If you disagree with any point I made, you have the right to choose to wear a mask, and that should be respected. But you damn well better respect my decision to get that mask off my kid. You want to wear it? If you want to wear it, you wear it. Don't tell me to wear it. This leads me to all you guys. You were elected to represent all of us. I recognize this is a polarizing, gotcha. I recognize it's a polarizing issue. I get it. But none of us signed up for a dictatorship on how to parent. And I'm seconding the motion to amend the health and safety plan. Thank you for the 2 minutes.
I would ask you to please be careful of your language. This is a public meeting when you're speaking to us, and also to please keep it down a little bit. Or else we're going to, well, we do have to keep order.
Hi, I'm Buffy Feist, 2629 Strathmore Lane. This is off topic, I'm sorry, but I noticed all the new curriculum that was purchased in the agenda, and I just wanted to tell you, as an educator and looking at our rankings, I am super excited to implement the new curriculum. I think the teachers will be so excited, especially when we get back in the classrooms and we have new curriculum, and it's going to do great things for our rankings and our upcoming year. So that's all. I just wanted to thank you for that. So yay.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Hi, my name is Tracy Sullivan. I live at 2006 Superior Drive. My children have recently come to Bethel about 3 years ago. We were very excited. I had friends whose children has come through. And this last year, to say it was a nightmare is an understatement. My daughter just graduated. Thank God. We actually had a full graduation, everyone outside. I'm trying not to get emotional, but when my daughter said, she looked up at those stands and said, "Mom, that was the best feeling I ever seen." Had everyone's parents, everyone's family come and cheer and holler their name because they missed that during the 3 football games they're allowed to have. I mean, it broke my heart because she struggled, as I'm sure as many other seniors struggled. She's like, just to get that support. This is what the CDC, Governor Wolf, whoever else, they don't understand. Our children need us there. They need us supporting them. They need us there academically, socially. My children suffered with depression this year. Two of my girls are failing 6 classes altogether with all the in and out of school remote learning. It's all exciting in the beginning, get your desk set up and everything. By 3 months in, they're barely rolling out of bed, barely logging on. That's not healthy for them. I have a degree in early childhood education. I know my children are older, but I think we all know as parents, consistency is the most important thing with children. And that back and forth flip-flopping, that can't happen anymore. They're not getting an education. My daughter barely talked to me anymore. My youngest, she'll be in 7th grade. I asked her, honey, why aren't you talking? She's very quiet to begin with in me. She's like, Mom, I don't have anything to talk about. I'm not going to school. I don't see my friends. We don't live in a neighborhood with a lot of kids. She needs that interaction. They need it. They don't want it behind plexiglass. They don't need it 6 feet across from your lunch buddies with a mask on. She barely talks now. Oh my God, with the mask, it's like she's almost mute, you know what I mean? So I just beg you guys, seriously, like the parents before us, it's not about, we all want to do what's right for our mom. Mask, no mask, vaccine, no vaccine. But we know what's best for our kids. We see them every day. The teachers see them every day. And I know, in much respect for the teachers, I can't imagine how hard that was trying to teach kids, when they're sleeping in their beds. So just please understand that we know what's best for our kids. There's people now who could choose what identity they want to be. Please don't let us choose. Please give us the right to choose how we should take care of our children's health. Thank you.
Hi, Jim Means, 3485 South Park Road. I feel like the district's trying to promise a steak sandwich to us and give us a grilled cheese sandwich. We've been told, Dr. Walsh put something out, and Mrs. Dobas just told us there's an announcement on the webpage that says that we are going to make masking voluntary. And yet if you look at the health and safety plan, it says we will follow the CDC guidelines. The CDC guidelines said that masking should be compulsory in all the district buildings. So which one is it? Are we going to follow CDC guidelines, or are we going to make masking voluntary? Masking should be voluntary. To the best of my knowledge, there's been no study that shows masks are effective in stopping the spread of any virus. In fact, there have been a number of studies that showed that they're useless or next to useless. Additionally, all the studies have shown that COVID does not present a health risk to school-age children, and they aren't very good spreaders of it. Masking is dehumanizing, it creates psychological stress, and Pennsylvanians have demanded to be free of masking mandates. Please don't impose masking mandates on our students when other citizens of the Commonwealth aren't required to do so. I would also like to point out, if you look around this room, there's only about 2 people in here with masks on, and yet we're going to impose this requirement on our children. They've suffered enough. They aren't getting a quality education. They need face-to-face education, not person-to-person, face-to-face. So please amend this policy, and in the masking area, simply state masking will be voluntary. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Barb Ringler, 403 Broughton Road, Bethel. First off, I want to commend the parents for being here today, because I know it's hard to stand up and speak publicly in front of people we don't even know. And I do thank you all for being here, because I know this isn't the easiest job. But as I sit here and listen to some of the residents speak, I watch you guys whisper amongst yourselves. Are you actually listening to what we are saying? Let me give you what the last year of my life has been. I have a daughter who has brain damage, and because of the location of that brain damage, it causes her severe mental health issues. Now, for the majority of her life, I've been able to maintain that mental health and keep her on a positive note. But this last year has been absolutely ridiculous for her. You've got teachers that are refusing to work. They're not teaching our kids. Some of them, yes. But the stories that I hear from the children coming back from the school, it's ridiculous. Some of these teachers are just using this time to just sit back and, hey, I don't actually have to do anything because, well, we already know that they're going to let them retake the year over or whatever. It's just complete bull. Now, you say you want to sit here and follow the CDC's guidelines. How many of you actually thought critically and investigated into the CDC? They have been, do you know what the Pitt University is doing? That from the funding from the CDC, do you guys even know what is going on besides what you have been indoctrinated and told what to do to our society? None of you actually care about us. I hope every single one of you goes home and looks in the mirror and actually sits there and wonders what the day-to-day lifestyle of the rest of our, sorry, I'm not a good public speaker. Because you sit here without a mask, every single one of you, but want to initiate that into our children's lives another year? No, this is ridiculous. I have to deal with my daughter whose seizures have been off the charts because of this. I don't know whether it's because of her depression. We've been focusing on her eating. All I can think of, the masks, the depression, it's just getting too much to her. She is now a senior again because of all of this. This is her second year. And God forbid that my son have to endure this any longer either. I am ready to see my kids grow up and lead a full life. And with the way you guys are leading this, it's a joke.
I again ask you all to be respectful in your comments.
Pam, can I say something?
I just, I'm just asking. I'm just asking.
Mrs. Dobus, can I go
No.
to point?
No. We don't need to reply.
Hello, my name is Ian Phillips.
Okay.
Definitional.
162 for Macaulay Road.
Just a second, sir, excuse me.
Do you want to go? Okay. Okay. I want to clarify something. When we say it's recommended, it's up to you to choose.
Okay, that's all. Don't say anything more. Okay. Sir, okay, sir. One person is speaking, and that's the gentleman at the microphone.
My name is Ian Phillips, 162 for Macaulay Road, Castle Shannon. My daughter is a fourth grader this year, Abraham Lincoln. I am an essential worker. I worked every day this whole COVID season as a state prison guard. I've been spit on. I've been assaulted by inmates when I had to force a mask on them. These masks were forced upon us as state prison guards. We were not given options of another way to be safe in the prisons besides wearing a mask. I've watched 80% of the state prison guards in my prison come down with COVID at least once, tested positive at least once. Inmates, same thing. These masks are not effective. I've watched many fellow staff members get sick from pneumonia from the mask more than COVID. More people had issues sick from that. I've watched the mask fail. I've watched the state guidelines fail the state prison systems and the convicted felons and the staff members that worked in that. The essential workers that did not miss a single day and were forced overtime this whole year were not given any options of any other ways of handling it. I was forced to work. I've seen the mask not work. And please let us consider the safety of our children in our hands, the ones that have lived this, have been through all this. Thank you for the time. I appreciate it. Have a good day.
Good evening. My name is Mark Graham. I live at 162 Highland Road in Bethel Park. I am a school bus driver in the district. Somebody told me that I'm not allowed to speak at these meetings, so okay, that was wrong information, okay, because I was going to speak anyways. So here's what I'm going to say. I'm not trying to be rude or disrespectful to you all. I don't even know any of you except for Jim Modrak. He was our school police officer. So as a school bus driver, I was forced to wear a mask. If I would have been given the option, I would have taken it off. But the saddest thing, because I had little Miley on my bus, and every morning when the kids get on my bus, I would say, "Good morning, Miley." I know every one of their names. But this year, I couldn't even see their smiles because they were wearing these stupid masks, okay? So I will not drive another year in a school bus. And I know you need school bus drivers. I will not wear a mask. And if you want to fire me, you can fire me. Have you ever tried driving a school bus with 40 kids on it, and it's 100 degrees in August, and I got 2 fans blowing warm air on me? It's very difficult to breathe. I just turned 64 years old. So I need to be able to drive for the safety of the kids. I need to be able to breathe, okay? And I want the kids to see my smile as well, okay? Thank you.
I'm Jonathan Yemen, 1131 McKnight Drive. Just in case you haven't read it yet, the Bethel Park School District 2021-2022 Safety Plan, date of last revision July 12th, 2021, which is today. Number 3, Section A is universal and correct wearing of masks. Commonwealth's universal face covering order was lifted, it says. However, Bethel Park School District will follow recommendations issued by CDC, PDE, and the Allegheny County Health Department with regard to masking of students, staff, and school visitors. That's what it says.
$4750 Robert Drive, Bethel Park. Of course, Ron Workmeister. First, I've been up there at the board, so I know it's not an easy task, and you have my appreciation on that. But nonetheless, I'll be very succinct. A lot of things were said. I got a lot more I could talk about. I know 2 minutes is short. But the biggest point we want to make to you guys here is that this is America, okay? And the fact is this, we talk about the CDC, and if you guys remember last year, I remember vividly, I have it on emails and things like that, and I watch TV galore. The CDC said the mask was ineffective. Then they said it was effective. Then they said, look, we cannot play the game of following some little pipsqueak doctor out there that doesn't sometimes know what they're doing. The fact is this, there's proof that some states have done some really good things without following along with all these guidelines. We had Sweden that did nothing, there was no shutdown, look it up, and they had they had problems, and they were worse than some countries, but they were better than other countries. And so the point being is that we cannot follow we're not lemmings here. We have to lead, and we have to know what's right, and we got to be America here to say, look, let the people, the parents are the ones that have the little kids in there, they're the ones that know what's going to happen. They need to have the freedom to choose. So what happened was last year, and this is my point. Last year, you guys were up here and you said that the school was not going to shut down. I know people personally, they were so upset. Some of you board members changed your vote. They were caught off guard. So right now, I'm sorry, but we don't have the trust right now for what is being said on this safety thing. We would like to see it in writing that this is not going to be where we follow the puppet, the CDC, because if the CDC changes tomorrow, guess what? You're going to tell us, well, sorry guys, we're all of a sudden have to wear masks because we allowed it to be in our, in our safety thing. We need to lead here, get rid of, that wording. So thank you.
Hello, Jonna Devine, 2060 Millennium Court, Bethel Park. I just want to echo with what a lot of the other parents have said. We want something in writing that this is going to be a parent's choice. Just like Mr. Workmeister just said, we will follow the CDC and the PDE. These guidelines that they are coming up with, they can't keep up with the data. The data changes daily. Again, Dr. Fauci stood on TV saying, masks aren't required because they do not work. I do have a doctorate in pharmacy. I do read a lot of studies. I know what I'm looking at. And, I'm not going to get up here and have an argument of do masks work or don't they work. But What I will say is I hope that all of you will look into JAMA Pediatrics, because the Journal of the American Medical Association, it's a reputable journal, and they came out with an article this week talking about the dangers of masking children. And these children, within 3 minutes, it was like 46 kids in the study, within 3 minutes, the levels of carbon dioxide were over 4 times the upper limit, which is considered safe. And that's in 3 minutes, not 6 hours. This is not safe for our children. And even the data, like I said, the data that's coming out, they cannot keep up with putting the information, cannot keep up with these guidelines. It has to be up to the parents. I read this data. I know what's best for my 5 children. That needs to be up to me. I don't need someone else going, oh, well, the CDC said this, so we're going to do this, and you do that for your kid. It needs to be our choice. And I just ask that you please put something, an amendment in there in writing that it says, we will recommend what the CDC recommends, but it will inevitably be up to the parents' choice to make those decisions.
Hi, I'm Nate Kovach, 640 Rolling Green Drive. I imagine you all joined the school board. It's a hard job. We're all appreciative of it, but you joined it here to make decisions to represent us. I feel like relying on the guidelines of the CDC is an abdication of the responsibility that we entrusted you with, and it's a major breach of the public trust. I ask that today we make a decision with clear, plain language in the vote, an amendment to that vote, guaranteeing my right as a parent to make medical decisions for my children. I can think of no other medical intervention that the school requires every child to go through without exception. Even for vaccines, you're able to get out of the vaccines an exemption. This is unprecedented, and I think it's a sincere breach of the public trust. So I'd ask that you make a vote today with specific language, and thank you.
Sharon Janisic, 4314 Anna Street. I first want to say I'm very excited to see the STEM kits on the agenda for grades 1 through 4, and I'm even more excited to see the addition and how we're going to grow STEM and STEAM through all of our schools, through all of our grades. That's important, as is knowing how to enter the workforce using computers, doing presentations, emails, spreadsheets, databases. All of those things are very important. Those are skills you need to graduate from college as well as to work. Even as maybe like a secretary in an office, you're required to know how to have basic command of those computer type skills. So I appreciate that our district provides those experiences to our children. I also appreciate that you all do everything you can to follow guidance and try to keep all of our staff, all of our students, and the entire community safe. When we're following rules and guidance, we can't pick and choose what we're going to follow and what we're not. So I appreciate... So I appreciate that you are trying to keep people safe.
Order!
Folks, we're going to, please.
One person is speaking at the microphone. Please be considerate.
I appreciate that you are trying to keep everyone safe in a very unusual and changing circumstance. It is not easy, and I know that you have the best interests of our children and our community at heart, and everyone is doing the best they can. I also want to say that there are hundreds of parents who aren't in this room, largely because they know that there are a lot of unvaccinated, unmasked people in the room. So I am speaking also. I'm still speaking, and it's not your turn. And I want you to remember that they exist as well. What you're seeing tonight is not the full representation of the whole community.
2 minutes.
Thank you.
Matthew Urian, 5520 King School Road. I wasn't going to speak because, honestly, I just echo most opinions here tonight, but I just hope you guys can kind of see the philosophical flaw in the previous argument in that we do pick and choose. That is how we evaluate and we discern what are good roles and what are bad roles. It's a very dangerous philosophy to teach our kids and teach our community that there's a blind, there's an authority over us in all regards without evaluating what that authority says. So that's why I think everyone here is so adamant that we add language that we will not just blindly follow what the CDC says, because the CDC does say some good things. They have also said some bad things. And we need leaders here in our community, which I firmly believe you all can be for us, but we need leaders here that can evaluate what is handed down. Is it good for our community? Is it bad for our community? Is what they're saying grounded? Is what they're saying not grounded? So I hope that you see that we don't need to follow every rule that was ever created. Many human atrocities have happened with that kind of philosophy, and we learn about those in history. Our students learn about it in history every year. So let's be discerning, let's be wise, and I just pray that you guys can be the leaders we need here on the ground in our community.
Anyone else?
Similar to the last speaker, I was hesitant to speak. My name is Rory Smith, 17 Pontiac Road. Similar to the last speaker, I was hesitant to speak because it's already been said, but there's a strong message that we don't want to have our right to choose usurped from us, to whether we wear a mask or not. So just make it clear, that's all. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, at this time, I'd like to call for a recess. I'd need to vote on that. We're going to have a vote on the recess for a brief recess. But I need to have a vote on it.
Well, there's no vote. We're going to discuss some things privately in executive session.
I need
Then
a
we have to
motion
come
and a
back to the
second.
public meeting. Got it?
Motion to recess.
Second?
I'm sorry, who seconded that? Thank
Mr.
you.
Modrak.
Mr. Christensen?
Yes.
Mr. McGregor?
Yes.
Mr. Modrak?
Yes.
Mr. Nagel?
Yes.
Mrs. Roll?
Yes.
Mr. Scalzo?
Yes.
Mr. Spicuzza?
Yes.
Mrs. Turner? Mrs. Dobos?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay. We'll be back shortly.
Computer's gone. Someone walks out. Well, I think we're going to do it now.
I make the motion.
Yeah. Yeah, make a motion to the chairman, chairperson. Right, as soon as we call back in order, he'll make his motion. Is that it?
No, we have to move it to the front of the agenda.
Yeah, you're going to do that?
I don't know how to. Dr. Walsh, how do I move that into the front of the agenda?
Just like Doug said, we can do whatever we want.
I'm going to ask
We'd like to.
Mrs. Turner to take it. I'd like to reconvene this meeting. Ms. Walsh, would you please take the health and safety plan? We're going to move that to the beginning of the meeting under other.
The Board of School Directors moves to, what do we want to, is this for a voter discussion?
You need a motion,
have
if you're,
the motion
you need a
in
motion
a second.
to move the item
Okay.
as it stands on the agenda, and then any kind of amendment can be addressed.
Okay, I move to
Just read
the
that.
health and safety plan, approve to talk about the health and safety
Just read
plan.
it as it is.
The board, I can't.
Why not? It's right there.
There you go.
It's a motion to approve Resolution 2.
Oh,
under
motion to
other.
approve Resolution 2 under the other.
The administration's recommendation to approve the health and safety plan. Okay, moved by Ms. Turner, seconded by...
I'll second.
Seconded by Mr. Spacuzza.
I move to amend item 3A of the health and safety plan.
Can you, by any chance, Mr. McCausland, put that up on the screen?
That's a test.
No. No? Okay.
Hold on. Let me see.
So,
Which number are you amending?
3, the first bullet point. The universal and correct wearing of masks. I move to amend it by adding the following statement. Face coverings will be optional unless mandated by order of the PA Secretary of Health, Governor, or other governing authority.
Second.
Could you read it again? Do you have it down?
I do not have it.
Face coverings will be optional unless mandated by order of the PA Secretary of Health, Governor, or other governing authority.
And who seconded it?
I seconded it.
And Mr. Spacuzza seconded that. Any discussion on this item?
I just wanted to comment a couple things. I know, first of all, great discussion, very emotional. I prefer it to be a little bit more civil, but it's good. I think that, maybe the misconception is we're 98% aligned on what you're asking for here tonight, okay? Coming into this, let me speak. I've got the mic. We are 100% aligned. Our view was that recommended isn't recommending that we mandate, it's recommending that you recommend to wear a mask. It's passing the responsibility onto you for the health and safety. The thing that comes in here, and so we understand it's the terminology. What you want is insurance that we're not going to put in a mask policy, okay? It was our intent that we were not going to require masks coming into this meeting. There is a requirement, though. The governing bodies have a requirement, and we have to follow those because we get 30% of our funding, which is about $30 million from them. Okay, I'm giving you some explanation on why this extra statement is there. There are no maskers up here, okay? It is not our mission to mask kids. It is not. But we do have a set of rules to follow from the state. The state, like I said, gives us 30% of our funding, which is about $30 million. And we have to adhere to, if there is a regulation, a mandate that we have to follow that. We don't have that choice. Unless you all want to pony up $30 million to help us run the school.
Actually, we took this language directly out of the Peters Township Health and Safety Plan. So everybody can Google it. We took the language directly out of the Peters Township Health and Safety Plan. And there are other mandates that this board has to follow. Every child in high school has to have 4 years of math. Every child in high school has to have 3 years of social studies. Every child in high school has to have 3 years of math. No, I'm not asking for you to wear a mask. That's your choice. That is how we interpreted what we were given as language. It is your choice. It's my choice for me to say yes or no on my child. It's your choice to say yes or no on your child. That is the language we're trying to come up with. Okay, that is where we are. But we do have to follow rules, and that's why Mrs. Zundel is on the board up there. We have to follow rules.
So I feel like through this whole night, we've been in violent agreement, and unfortunately, it has become a little bit violent at times, okay? So what we're trying to do is understand okay, there's a little bit of a joke there, lighten up, okay, people?
It was a little exaggeration.
So what we are trying to do is come up with the language that works for you, works for us, works for those who govern us, okay? So that is the amendment on the table today.
I'd like to make a couple comments. I think that I'm going to reflect a little bit back like Barry just did. When I first got on the board many years ago, and I thought I knew a lot of things that were going on in the district, and I learned an awful lot that I didn't understand. And one thing that I do understand now very well is my impact is about this big because of state law, federal law, contracts, etc. So we're not trying to push anything down your throats. When I was talking to Connie and to Kim, I'm trying to figure out what we missed because I thought that recommending meant that was your choice, and it shouldn't be the government's choice, it should be our choice. Many of you know me personally from a lot of other places, and you know exactly how I feel. And I feel like you feel on most of these issues, but where I have to follow state law or the federal government law, I don't have a choice. It's not an option. So I have no intention of my remaining days on the board to mandate masks. I promise you that. If the law comes down from the federal government or the state government that I have no choice, we have to follow that. But I believe most of us sitting here, if not all of us, believe the same thing I just said. We're not here to put masks on your kids. We are not. So just give us a chance to finish this. We were all just, I think we were just awestruck because we thought that we were on the same page. And I guess we didn't word it as properly as you wanted it to be. So give us the opportunity to finish this. Give us the opportunity to make you happy when you walk out of here tonight. And we'll do the best we can for the rest of the year. I promise you that.
And to follow up with what Mr. Spacuzza just said, last year, tonight you complained about the ever-changing target last year, and that was because numbers changed and regulations changed. So in August or September, if everything blows up, things can change. During the next meeting, it might change again. We changed the health and safety plan several times last year. I'm just telling you that that's the way it works with this unknown disease, that things have changed now they're not changing as drastically as they did last year, and we're hoping to keep it, we're hoping to keep the plan as we stated, but in the plan, by federal mandate issued in January, unless they change it, face coverings are required on all public transportation. That's federal mandate, just so that you all understand that.
We have a motion, but I did not get the second on that.
Mr.
Thank you.
Spacuzza.
Appreciate it.
I also want to say that throughout this entire year, our whole role and mission has been to keep our students safe and our community safe, and we try to do that to the best of our ability, and we have been doing it. It includes public, it includes, yes, it does. This includes on school buses operated by public and private school systems. Okay, so we have a motion. Is there any other, is there any other comments? No, I'm sorry, you can speak at the end of the meeting.
So are we saying that the email that was just sent out July 11th is now void? Because that says we're just going to follow the CDC. What you're saying...
We're going to be approving this.
I'm sorry, we did.
We just did take
Mr. Nagel, can you reread that motion, please?
That amendment. We are,
folks.
we are, okay, we,
Okay,
Mr. Nagel, will you please read the amendment again?
The amendment is face coverings will be optional unless mandated by order of the PA Secretary of Health, Governor, or other governing authority.
Okay, so,
In other words, just if I may have a minute, in other words, they are optional. It's up to parents to decide unless law tells us that they are mandatory.
okay, so,
A governing authority tells us that they are mandated.
we don't, as,
What? Yes, I am.
we have heard you.
We have superior government authority
We
to
have
govern us.
heard your comments, and we have also addressed what we think is the central issue here with this amendment. And at this time, are there any other board comments? Okay, at this time,
I
we're
would
going
just
to
say,
vote.
guys, I have to, I'm just confused, similar to what Russ mentioned, how it seems like we disagree. Listen, our goal is not to mask people also, okay? But I feel like we're arguing over that, and we're saying the same things, but we have to say it in a way that conforms to how we are governed by the state, okay?
Okay, so okay, so at this time, excuse me, ma'am, it's not time for public comments, please. Please. Call to order, please. Call to order, please. Call to order. Okay, at this time, are there any other board comments about the amendment? Okay, will you please open up the vote for the
Voting
amendment?
is open. Voting is open. Mrs. Roll. Mrs. Roll. Mrs. Roll. Connie,
You have to,
I need your vote. Connie, are you yes or no? Can you?
That's the problem in this room with everybody. That's what they're worried about. That's why this verbiage is a really big deal, and that's why...
Ma'am.
Motion
would you
carried
please
8-1.
Stop talking.
we have, excuse me, please, just a second, please. I understand your concerns, and believe me, I'm on your side, and I still don't understand what we're fighting about. Transparent, we just,
set a vote, we had a discussion.
no, what went on back there was just executive session. We came out here,
Executive session, health and safety plan.
Not in the hands of the parents.
unfortunately, you're arguing with the wrong person, because I'm on your side, I'm not against you, I'm not for big government. We can't, we have Robert's Rules of Order, we have to follow some order. You have an opportunity to,
Okay.
I'm really trying to be very patient. I'm not, I just don't get it. I mean, we don't want to put masks on your kids. We want you to make that decision. We have state and federal law that we have to follow, and you're telling us, no, don't follow it? So we're not going to, you want to, first of all, we can't raise taxes. We already passed the budget. I don't know what you want us to do if we couldn't get state funding of $30 million. Which one of us, excuse me,
Okay.
all right, I'm done. I can't say any.
Call to order. Call to order. Okay. All right, so, Mr. McCausland, did the motion pass?
The motion carried 8-1.
Okay, the motion carried. All right, so at this time, we'll take the motion that Ms. Turner, with the amendment as added.
No, I think according to Ms. Zundel, I don't believe you need to do anything else. It's been amended as you requested. So that's the
Right,
only
but
vote.
now we have to vote on the health
The
and
main
safety
motion.
plan.
That was an amendment to the main motion.
That was an
Don't we have
amendment to the
vote on the
main
main
motion.
motion?
You voted on the health and safety plan, which was your agenda item, as amended. So you've
Okay.
completed
You don't
voting
need to
on
do
that
another
item.
motion.
It has passed.
Oh, okay. We didn't, that's a different way than what we've done it before. Okay.
I know what I voted for.
Okay, so the health and safety plan as amended passed.
It has been approved, yes.
Okay, because, I thought that we had, okay, it's just, we did it differently.
Move on.
Okay. All right, Mr. Scalzo, will you please take the curriculum items?
Okay,
We
there
do
are
those
seven.
as a group
He's gonna
or
ask,
individual?
he's gonna ask
if they're
if there's
held up.
anything to be held out.
Yeah.
Okay, under curriculum committee, there are 7 items. Would any board members like anything held out?
No.
Then I would like to move all 7 items under curriculum committee.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Scalzo and seconded by Mr. Nagel. This is the West Virginia student-teacher contract, the purchase of the map growth, the purchase of Smithsonian Science, the purchase of environmental science, the purchase of environmental science, sustaining your world, the purchase of college physics, and the purchase of body structures and functions updated. Any comments or questions about these?
Voting is open. Mr. Modar? Yep, thank you. Motion carries 9-0.
Okay, Mr. McGregor?
Yes, under Personnel Committee, there are 5 items that I would like to move. 1, change of assignment. 2, approval to extend leave of absence. 3, approval of job description. 4, MOU with the Bethel Park Federation of Teachers. And 5, changes to the extracurricular pay schedule for current positions. Would anybody like any of those held out?
Okay, I need a second.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Modrak. Questions or comments? Could you explain number 5, Mr. Piscineri?
Yeah, the steering committee out of the contract met and approved the 7th grade football program. Right now, it was difficult for the community 7th grade to schedule because it seems that 7th grade across the county and neighboring counties were moving in school. So they were going to Altoona, they were going to Erie just to play 7th grade football. So the decision was to make 7th grade football part of a school system so they can play neighboring districts.
So it used to be a 7th, 8th grade program, right? And now we're
Yeah.
separating it into a 7th and 8th grade program.
Correct, yeah, 'cause the
So
numbers
these are
would
3
support
new
it.
positions.
Correct, yes.
Okay.
I think that's a smart move. If you know, I've coached middle school football for over 20 years. The difference, the physical difference between a 7th grader and an 8th grader is huge. And so it gives them a competitive advantage to participate in a sport for their school. So the changes are those football positions for 7th grade.
Mr. Buccianeri, how many other districts have a 7th grade team and an 8th grade team? I understand the difficulty, but are we going to be able to keep them local then?
Oh, yeah. So the last remain in Allegheny County was Bethel and South Fayette. South Fayette this year went to 7th grade in school. So we were the last remaining out of this area that.
So at least out of the southern part of Allegheny County, correct?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, any other comments or questions? Okay, Mr.
Voting is open. Motion carries 9-0.
Okay, Mr. Spacuzza?
Sorry, I apologize. Thank you, Mrs. Dovitz. There are 4 items tonight, but before I move the items, I would like to have Mr. Kevin Hayes from Hayes Design Group give us some information on the awards of the bids. Could you do that, Kevin?
Certainly. Good evening, everybody. There is a handout that I put in front of each of the board members' chair earlier, if you could pull that out. I'm not going to go over every item. If you want to read that while we're going through this, and if you have any questions, feel free. But just an update on the various work that's going on in the district this summer. The NAMS cafeteria flooring replacement is moving along, should be installed by the start of school. The IMS gymnasium flooring and HVAC replacement, the key issues there are that bids were received for the replacement of the flooring in the gym, as well as the HVAC contract to install the units that were ordered under a CoStar contract earlier because of timing. The work to install those units was also bid. Those bids were received, they were reviewed. The low bidder for the flooring contract is Sports Floors in the amount of $171,690. We vetted that. It was a competitive bid. The next highest was only a few $1,000s higher. So in a very strange contracting environment right now, we were able to get 2 competitive bids from 2 reputable firms. Likewise, in the HVAC contract, R&B Mechanical in the amount of $238,000 is recommended to be awarded. And again, that was only a couple thousand more than the next highest bidder. So again, competitive bids from reputable firms. So that kind of covers the IMS gymnasium flooring and HVAC replacement. District paving for the elementary schools was bid, and that project received 2 bids from firms. Paving's very up and down right now, but there were 2 reputable firms that bid. They were extremely tight. On a $150,000 contract, they were $1,500 apart. We're recommending that A. Foligno Construction be awarded the base bid A option, and that option was to install the work before the start of school. And so we weren't sure we were going to get bids because, again, of the environment for that, but for the 2 firms that bid, they were able to do it beforehand, and Foligno was the low bidder, and we recommend awarding of that. And then just quickly, the paving replacement at the bus garage, that's moving forward with continued investigations, and core drilling was done. We're going to get those results back, and we can move forward with the design based on that. And then water remediation at the high school, again, that investigation is ongoing, and we hope to know more next month to report.
Thank you.
Hey, Kevin,
Questions?
I just had one question on the, I think it was on the IMS, the gym floor that had some water damage. As we've been working through this, are we confident on the root cause, and has that been fixed for that, that caused that water damage?
Yes. The cause was subsurface water, we believe. Again, it's a 40-year-old floor, but when we took up a portion of it, there was no vapor barrier installed 40 years ago. I'm not sure why. Okay. It may have been just the practice at the time, or they may have, when they, installed the floor, did not think it was necessary. But there's definitely some moisture coming up through the floor, and we, as part of the new work, we are going to be putting a water vapor barrier down over the entire floor.
Okay.
Thank you, Kevin. There are 4 items tonight that I would like to move for approval. Item number 1 is the approval of the purchase of a diesel generator. Item number 2 is purchase of filters. Number 3 is the awarding of bids as described by Mr. Hayes. And the last one is the authorization to accept and award quotes.
Second.
Any comments or questions on any of these 4 items?
Mrs. Dobasaidu, the diesel generator, is that being, I understand it's going to William Penn, is that a replacement situation?
Yes, it's a replacement. We're going to use ARP ESSER's money to replace that.
Okay.
And Doug, on item number 4, that's the removal of some tile that are outside of the scope of
That's the
Mr. Hayes.
tile in the IMS gym floor area.
Yeah, and then there was
found
some,
to have some asbestos,
It's
so
in
we
the
have to
mastic or
remediate
whatever,
that.
I believe, so that's just a separate item.
Correct.
That's all I have.
And are the filters for the HVAC systems?
Yes.
Okay. Any other comments or questions on any of those items?
Nope.
Mr. McCausland?
Voting is open. Motion carries 9-0.
On the Finance Committee, there are 13 items on the agenda. Would anybody like any of these held out? Seeing none, I move item 1, partnership agreement with Allegheny Intermediate Unit. 2, contract with Ford Consulting Services. 3, acceptance of donation. 4, renewal of VMware software. 5, payment for demolition of the Independence Middle School gymnasium floor. 6, acceptance of anonymous donation. 7, payment for engineering services. 8, payment for gymnasium floor and paving replacement. 9, payment for cafeteria flooring and window replacement. 10, payment for HVAC units and stormwater retention. 11, payment for professional design services. 12, payment for professional architectural services. And 13, approval of bus usage.
I need a second.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Modrak. Comments or questions about any of these items?
I just wanted to comment, and too bad we don't have the as a larger group here before, but the donation for the football room by Nick Kwiatkowski is phenomenal. If you ever get a chance to go into the football locker room and see what the amount of money he donated, and the graphics on the wall and the whole environment they created, it's phenomenal. So that was a great donation. Thank you, Nick. It was really, really good.
Yeah, and just one other comment. I think that an anonymous donation for Perky Field is also really quite wonderful. Just shows the philanthropy of our residents and past residents. So that's kudos to those people who've made those donations. Thank you.
And I think the donation to Perky is going to deal with some of the drainage issues in that field.
That is correct.
To remediate those. And the contract with Ford Consulting, Dr. Walsh, you spoke with her recently, and
Yeah, I met with her last week, and we just made some changes to the job assignments that she would include. Yeah.
because she's been working so carefully and diligently with the DE.
Right, and I think that was part of the
committee.
problem, was we were putting so much time into the committee, she wasn't doing the consulting work with classrooms and
Right.
professional development.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Any other comments or questions?
Voting is open. Motion carries 9-0.
Ms. Turner?
We have revisions to policies, and it looks like we have been through every policy to meet PSBA guidelines in the year. So kudos to everyone. Weapons change, it's a wording change. Terroristic threats change is also a wording change, and so is hazing. And most of these were very minor, if I can get them all open.
They're all aligned now with the requirement of a threat assessment team in each school.
Right.
The policies that they have to report
Mhm.
findings to the threat assessment.
The threat assessment team, and then the superintendent may recommend modifications of such on a case-by-case basis.
For one of them.
Right.
Yeah. The weapons one, I think it is.
It was terroristic threats goes into the same thing. It's the threat assessment team, and so is hazing. All will now fall under the threat assessment team.
So this is the first of 3 readings, so we'll also be looking at this at the beginning of August and at the end of August for the final reading.
Correct.
And thank you for working with everybody to reach one of our goals from last summer about looking at half of our policies over the course of the year. Appreciate that.
I actually think between Amy, Dr. Walsh, Mary Beth Gregg, and myself, we did all of them. We now need to condense things, but all of them were done.
Nice. Thank you. Mr. Modrak, would you take the National Honor Junior?
Yes, there's one item under other at this time, proposal to create a National Junior Honor Society chapter.
I need a second.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Nagel.
And I'm sorry, for clarification, this will be at Independence Middle School.
Yes. And this comes from the administration at the middle school? Correct. Any comments, questions?
Will we need to create another position on our extracurriculum list as a sponsor for this position?
No, because one of the other existing ones is just getting a name change.
Okay. Okay.
So an existing sponsor is going to pick this one up.
Okay.
Okay.
Voting is open. Motion carries 9-0.
Thank you. Mr. McCausland, in the past, we were able to put up a timer on the screen. Is that possible?
I'm not sure how to
Okay.
do that
All right.
in our current environment, but I can
And if you
I
would
can look
investigate-
into it for the future.
That's why every once in a while you hear blah, blah, blank, 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 because I have that
I
timer on.
can, if you want me to keep it to 2 minutes, I can just alert
Well, I
to the
did, I mean, it
speaker.
just has to be pretty approximate, yeah.
Yeah, I'll just kind of give whoever's speaking, if they want to speak, a warning when we're approaching 2 minutes.
Okay, thank you. All right, at this time, public comments on any item whatsoever.
We have 5 write-ins.
What?
We have 5 write-ins.
Oh, okay. Oh, I didn't
Yeah,
even
we have
notice that.
5. Yeah, we have 5 sitting in there.
Okay, all right.
Okay, Jim Means, 3485 South Park Road. The only comment I have is I hope that the amended health and safety policy is put on the internet, on the webpage very quickly so we can look at it. Thank you.
Matthew Urian, 5520 King School Road. I just wanted to say, I know it can be frustrating, but most people in this room that were here earlier have never been in a procedural type meeting like this, so I appreciate your patience in dealing with that. But I will say I am very disappointed. Coming back from that long recess, I think you showed the group that you did not understand the primary concern. So I do think that did damage to the community. Mr. Spicuzza, to answer your question, and again, I'm not speaking for everybody, I'm speaking for myself and my family. To answer your question is, yes, we were looking for someone to fight for us. I realize $30 million is not someone anyone's going to pocket. And I realize that's a big pill to swallow, but we wanted assurance that someone was going to fight for us, that if the government was going to put top-down mask mandates on us, that someone would speak out for the community that wants to maintain those parental rights over their children. So I just plead with you again, be the leaders this community needs, help build some of those bridges that were damaged today, and again, just praying for you guys that you continue to lead in this community. Thank you.
We can read the comments. Are there any call-ins?
There are no calls.
Okay, I'll take the first one.
Okay.
Lisa Bible, 5138 Orchard Avenue. I object to our children being taught critical race theory, also known as diversity, equity, and inclusion. It is a Marxist agenda and does not belong in schools. To teach children that one group is oppressed and the other is the oppressor is divisive and wrong. Children should be taught to love America and each other. My children attended Bethel Park schools, graduating in 97, 99, and 07. They did not have this racial agenda to deal with. Let's get back to the basic subjects and leave this harmful indoctrination out of schools.
Second one's in Amanda Wotan, 90 Brookside Boulevard. I do not agree with the mask mandate of any child. The children have had a 100% survival rate and a very low rate of any asymptomatic transmission. My six-year-old is more likely to get hit with lightning than die or spread COVID. My teenagers will not get a vaccine for a virus with a 100% survival rate. The adverse reactions of the vaccine in healthy adolescents is great than the damage caused by the actual COVID. The CDC recommends, it does not mandate, the masks on unvaccinated children. If surrounding schools are given the parents the options for kids to wear the mask, BP should do the same as well.
She actually has a general comment too. That was supposed to be before. It's about the critical. I don't know.
No, we got one call.
Another comment that was to be read, that one was to be read before the meeting. She also wrote another one to be read after. Amanda Wotan, 90 Brookside Boulevard. Do not push racism via critical race theory on our children. They need taught the truth of history, how it really happened, as it's been taught for decades and generations. Not taught how to interpret it to their way of thinking. CRT teaches more hate than our community needs, and remember, you work for us, not the CDC or Governor Wolf. Okay. Is it,
Nathan Graff, 1060 Surrey Woods. Regarding masks, the health and safety plan says we will follow the CDC, PDE, and ACHD. It also says the CDC requires face coverings to be worn on school buses. The first statement does not make clear that parents have a choice for whether their child will wear a mask while in school, as clarified by the email Dr. Walsh issued yesterday. The second statement implies that we are obligated to follow the requirements issued by the CDC. The law of the United States and 21 U.S. Code 360 BBB 3E protects citizens from the risk of emergency use unauthorized medical devices by allowing them to be refused. Masks are emergency use authorized medical devices for COVID because they have not been approved by the FDA for viral protection. Masks can increase breathing carbon dioxide, increase risk for bacterial infection in the lungs, reduce oxygen uptake, affect heart rate, and cause headaches, lethargy, and depression. What benefit do masks have? California, Connecticut, and Rhode Island have some of the strictest mask requirements in the country, but they're also leaders in COVID cases, hospitalizations, and deaths with COVID. Most virus-containing particles are 200 times smaller than the holes in a cloth mask. Regardless of your mask belief, on July 8, the Wall Street Journal reported that a UK study found that 469,982,000 children 18 years of age and younger had been contracted COVID. 99.995% survived. Adults who are at higher risk can be protected by vaccines and therapeutics. It is high time we start revolving our lives around COVID-19. I call on the board to make the appropriate changes to the health and safety plan but also to obtain legal counsel on the rights the board has to go against unreasonable CDC, PDE, and ACHD requirements. The last I checked, only the legislature can make laws. Legal counsel can also help us make independent decisions about contact tracing, which has forced healthy children to be at home and schools to not unnecessarily close.
Okay, the next one is from an Ian Phillips, 1624 Macaulay Road. Is that in Bethel Park?
Yeah.
My child goes to Lincoln Elementary. We oppose the mandatory mask wearing for the children. I believe parents should be able to make the choice to put a mask on their child or not. We've watched the state make rules and mandates for the residents for the last year and a half. Some were wise decisions, others not so much. I work for the state. I had to work every day through the pandemic in the state. Oh, he was here in the state prison system. The state failed in prisons. Most of the staff got sick from COVID while wearing masks at work. Most illnesses were minor with the COVID exposure. The ones who were most sick had pneumonia without COVID due to the strict mask policies in place. I believe the children will be at more of a risk of other illness due to strict mask wearing. In closing, I believe that the children and staff will be safe to make their own choices to mask or not. Thank you for your time. And the last one is Kelly Phillips, 1624 Macaulay Road. No masks, enough is enough. The parents should be making their own medical decisions for their children. Other nearby school districts are not putting up with it anymore. Okay, at this time, any board comments?
Yeah, I have just one, and I'm sorry, the last speaker, I forgot your first name. Matt. I was struggling all night trying to figure out where a point of difference was because I thought we agreed, but I think you shed some light on it, okay? A couple ground rules. We're not giving up $30 million, okay? It'll shut down the school. We're just not doing that. But I think maybe part of the group was maybe had a perception that we have some power over the CDC or governor or something like that we can dictate what the rules are. We can't. The state and the CDC does not listen to 9 board members or 1 superintendent. If something happens where a mandate comes out, the only thing that's going to move that is 1 million, 10 million, 100 million people objecting to it, okay? Not 1 superintendent or 9 board members. And so I think as we go through this, if you believe that masking is something you don't want, you have to continue to be proactive. I mean, we cannot give you assurances that we are not able to make without losing $30 million, okay? You just can't do it. And if people disagree, it's because they don't understand. And I invite you, I'll sit down with you, I'll have a call with you, I'll explain how the process works. But we can't give assurances that we can't make. You just have to continue, if you feel strongly about this, you have to continue to be vocal, not just to us, but to the state, to the CDC, to wherever, to your other elected officials. That's the only way this works.
I would encourage you.
I'd like the facts, okay? Listen, I'm not speaking for Pennsylvania. I'm speaking for.
We're done.
There's no procedural response for us. No. I mean, he did call me out.
Talk to me afterwards. It's fine. I'd love to understand more, okay? I mean, really, I'm not trying to. I welcome all the feedback we got, and I'm still in my mind trying to figure out why are we arguing about what we agree on, okay? And I think
It's about money, right?
No, it's
No,
not
it
about
really
money.
isn't about money.
It's
Not about money.
well, it's
Ma'am,
kind of a reality.
We went and looked, and that's why Mrs. Zundel was here. We looked. We took the wording exactly out of Peters Township as one of your friends in the audience had asked us to look at. I'm going to give you all a phone number, and she's going to kill me. and I'm going to give you, it's Representative Natalie Mihalik's number. She's the one that can help you all on this, because the CDC guidelines came down from the Pennsylvania Department of Education. So you need to be talking to your state representatives and your state senators. Those are the ones that can make the change. So if
Okay,
you need
any
the
other-
number, see me
any other-
after the meeting, and I will give it to you.
Yes. Any other board
Yeah,
comments?
I would just like to, first of all, many of our current board members, a few of our past board members, and some of the people that have come to a lot of meetings will attest and appreciate the fact that I would much rather see a room full of people, regardless of if you agree with me, disagree with me, I don't care. That, what it shows me is that you're paying attention, and I truly appreciate people that pay attention. When you're not paying attention, and you're just letting us come in with 5 people in the room and make decisions, that's not how a democratic republic works. We need people involved. We need people to participate. But what I would ask when you come to the meetings, we're not against you. We're on the same side. We want to understand your issues and your problems and what we can do to resolve those. But when we have all that banter back and forth and audience comments, it's really difficult. You can't gather your thoughts. It's non-productive. And what we want more than anything is to make this the best educational experience, the safest place to go to school, and the most fiscally responsible place at the same time. So keep all those things in mind, and just please continue to come, express your opinions on critical race theory and all the other things that you feel strongly about. I don't care what it is, but please express your opinions. That's the way the process works, and that's the way it works best. Thank you.
Mr. Modrak?
Yes, Mrs. Dopes.
Can I not make a comment?
Yeah, the comment portion
Comments
is
are over.
over.
That time is now lost.
Yeah.
For good.
Yes. Next meeting. Or email us.
Okay, I just wanted to know for sure that whenever you guys voted on that amendment, did you know that you were voting for the plan, not just the amendment to be added to the plan?
Yes.
Yes.
'Cause it seemed like nobody up here knew that that's what was happening.
We all did.
Okay, so you all knew that it wasn't just the amendment for the plan and not just to add it.
Was
There was a
more
lot of
it was just procedural. We wanted to make sure we did it correctly, that's all.
Okay.
So that's what you might have perceived as our not understanding, because typically when you make a change to your agenda, you do it at the beginning of the meeting.
Yeah.
We did not do that, so there was a procedural change that we're not typically used to doing and dealing with.
Right,
So
the
that's why, yeah.
amendment, right?
And we would have amended earlier and it would have been fine. We just wanted to make sure we followed the process.
The Robert's Rules of Order process, that was what the question was, to make sure that we were following it correctly.
Yeah, that's fine. I just think where some of the issues come up that you're talking about is that you have an amendment to a roll and then no more comments after that either. So you guys gave everybody the plan, and they had a little bit of time to look at it prior to coming to this meeting, right? And to chew it over and take a look at it. And then you amended the plan and then immediately voted on it. And nobody had the chance in this room other than you guys to take a look at it. And that's a problem.
The only
Wait, hold on a
amendment-
second, Pam.
The only amendment
I'm
was
letting you
that-
know, hold on. I'm letting you know, as a person who is in the district and not up here, that that's a problem.
The plan has been in board docs since Friday. And
Not
you-
with your amendment though, right?
It's only, it was one sentence.
I know the amendment was read, but how about this? Where in the statement does that go?
We read it.
No, you didn't read the full thing, you read the amendment. Does it go at the
Section
end?
3A.
Okay, so I understand that.
It's in the
Have you seen
masking, in the
3A?
masking part.
We asked, was it included on the update? And that was one thing, we weren't able to do the amendment tonight. It will be posted tomorrow with that, but we spoke on specifically 3A is being amended.
Right, 3A has 2 paragraphs. Is it before those 2 paragraphs or after those 2 paragraphs?
Between.
Or is it in between?
In between.
It's in
Nobody
between.
said that.
Okay.
Yes, I did.
No.
I asked him specifically.
No, Pam, you
You're-
didn't.
I asked Mr.
Point well
Liddell
taken,
specifically.
point well taken.
Here's the other issue, okay? My 7-year-old could get that up on that screen. It's a shame that that wasn't up here for all of these people to see
Point well
and
taken.
to understand. That's the problem.
Got it.
Okay? And it really looked like from somebody out here that nobody up here understood that what you guys were actually voting on was the plan and not just the amendment to the plan.
Got it. All right.
So that's the issue. And I just want to say one more thing.
Go ahead.
It's very telling that none of the comments that you guys received were against what everybody else in this room was for.
That's not true.
Duly noted. Ms. Dobas, I have a couple informations from the Recreation Board meeting I attended the other day. One was future dates. The Rev Up Car Cruise will be on September 5th on Corrigan Drive at basically the ice skating parking lot from 12 to 6. They're also planning a turkey trot on the Montour Trail on Thanksgiving Day. They said more information will be coming out on that. They said Community Day has been scheduled for the 25th of September. Again, that will be on their website. There was also a celebration at Miners Park, and I believe Mrs. Ruhl, when I finish, she'll elaborate more on that.
Okay.
And I also have one more item that American Legion Post 760 and Diane Lance will be sponsoring a benefit softball tournament for our veterans and families in need on Saturday, July 31st, starting at 9 o'clock at Neil Armstrong School. There will be a presentation in the morning at 9. The Legion will be honoring a 97-year-old World War II veteran who served in Normandy and received the Purple Heart. Mayor Jack Allen is one of the sponsors of that, so if anybody has any questions on that, please feel free to give Mr. Allen a call to get more information.
Who is the veteran?
I don't have his name. I'm sorry, Jim. Yeah. So.
Other board comments or committee?
Yeah, I have some more. On July 17th, Coverdale will be celebrating their 100th anniversary, and we're inviting the community to attend. It will be held down in Miners Park. It will run all day, starting at 11 o'clock. 11 to 12 will be the ribbon cutting, and then it will proceed. There'll be games and things for children to do, and a lot of activities with fireworks in the evening. The second day, there will be some exhibits at the church. You can go in. There'll be a lot of the exhibits that had to do with the mining industry when it was here. And Bethel Park is very rich in their mining history. So if any of you can get there, it would be appreciated. And there's no charge to attend, but there'll be a lot of activities and food. And that's on the 17th of July, starting at 11 o'clock and running all till the evening. The other committee reports I had was that I want to thank the school district and 42 other school districts for electing me to be the Allegheny Intermediate Unit representative. I had the privilege of doing it for 12 years. I was the longest reigning member at this point, but I was proud to represent Bethel Park because we have a lot of money invested, and they also support us with a lot of resources. They recognized us at the last meetings. It was really a privilege. It's something that, you know, you live in your own little bubble when you're in your local school district, but when you work with 42 other school districts in the county and you see what they deal with and how they deal with it, you come back and you say, you know, we're really doing a good job, believe it or not. We are really doing. So it's a very eye-opening experience to see the poorer districts, the affluent districts, and how they manage to get through. So it's a great experience. I also had a meeting, Dr. Walsh and I attended a meeting at Still Center where the director was having meetings with each of the sending school districts. There's about 12, getting a feel for how well we're serving the districts and what else needs to be implemented in the school and changes, because CET is just like the rest of the public schools. It needs to keep updated with all the trades and what's going on with them. So we had a very good meeting with all the superintendents on an individual basis. And the other thing is that I had an occasion to go with the recreation group with all the twirlers in the district, and it was for the national championships. We came home with 3 trophies, 3 national championship trophies, and 3 second place in the contest. And I was also proud to know that 3 of our senior girls in the Corps will be first, as freshmen, will be twirlers in 3 universities. One was selected by Arizona, one by Alabama, and the other one's going to Pitt. Michaela Yee will be one of the Golden Pitt girls. So we were very proud to know that 3 of our twirlers made the first cut in the 3 universities. So that was a great experience. And these are girls who age 6 to 18. So they came out on top, and we were very proud of them. Thank you.
Mr. Nagel?
Yes. First of all, I'd like to say I'm really excited under the curriculum committee, all of the new programs, especially focused on STEM and science, STEAM. I'm really excited about that. Second of all, I would like to unequivocally say, as chair of the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee, that I'm very proud of the work we're doing to ensure everybody in our community is given a safe, welcoming, and equitable opportunity at education, and we are unequivocally not discussing critical race theory.
Anyone else?
I'll just echo a couple of things Mr. Nagel said. Just really excited. I'm in the curriculum subcommittee for the strategic plan. I'm excited about looking at our STEAM initiative. I mean, as one of the goals, hopefully, as it gets to the point of the steering committee, see what the group thinks about that as a whole. But I think it's very important, K through 12, that we really focus on the reading, the writing, the math, and the problem solving. And I think that STEAM will help us get there, K through 12, interwoven all the way through. You can't do anything in life without those skills. So I hope that we put enough resources into that for our children. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming out. I'll agree with Russ over there. It's nice to have people come out and participate. In fact, I was one of those people several years ago, even made the news. My kids thought I was a rock star. But yeah, keep coming out. I'm really excited for our meetings moving forward. Thank you.
Any other comments, questions?
I just want to, I want to echo, thank you for coming out. It is much better when we actually have people to give comments on things. But I'm going to echo what Barry and Russ also said too. We can't make the change. You have to make the change, and the change has to be at many levels above us. Remember, things in this country go down. So the change needs to happen at the state level. And, I mean, that's where I'm going to leave it. And we can all help you get those numbers and those entities. And I'm very, very, very encouraged with the Smithsonian for K-4 in the science program with STEM and being able to use the libraries that were all put in with STEM. So that is a positive move for our elementary schools and 5th grade, and to getting that program up and running for the fall. So thank you.
To echo some of the comments about the curriculum, we were very pleased to have some teachers here last time to talk to us about the new science curriculum, and we were pleased to vote on it and get it up to, get us up to speed on that, along with our work with NIMSY to help with our AP program to get that up to speed too. So we're moving forward with some of our curricular areas. I'd like to again echo the thanks to all of you for coming to the meeting, even though for me it was a little rowdy and I kept hitting the gavel, but we do appreciate, because in the past year and a half, all we've had are comments online or comments that are being read through a intercom or a phone system. So this is the first time we've had the possibility of people coming here and speaking to us. For me, it's not about money. For me, it's, as a public official, I think I need to model how our students should act. And I think that what we should model in that acting is how we behave as citizens of this great country, and that we should follow the guidance and the rules. And I think also, as a public official, we have a duty to protect the most vulnerable among us. And I'm sorry to hear that in the comments tonight, it was kind of all about me and not about the other. And that's where I come from in terms of this masking recommendation, that I understand that it is a parent's personal decision to do it, but I also know through many emails that we did receive of all of the parents who are petrified because their immunosuppressed students and children are not going to be able to come to our schools now. And so for those who were threatening in the audience to remove their students from our schools, there's another whole contingent of people who have been emailing us about the students who they're going to have to take out of our schools because we're not going to have masks. So I highly recommend masks. I think that they are important, and I do think they do protect our students, and I don't think they harm them. And I'm sorry, I'm a little bit emotional. I have personally had someone who a year and a half ago had COVID and still has lung fibrosis as a result. And he's much younger than I am. But so it touches me in ways that it might not touch some other people. But I just wanted you to know that it's about doing what's right, and it's not about doing it for the money or not for the money. So I am respecting your comments. I am asking you not to scream at me or not to scream out like you have been, and follow the procedures that we have at the board in the future. I'd like a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
Seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. This meeting is adjourned.